people of tahqiq, Allahu nur as-samawati wal-ard, مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح كأنه المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة. That the light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the light of the heavens and the earth, and in the example of His light is like a lamp in a niche, and the niche is inside glass, and the glass is like an illuminated planet that is ignited from a tree. And the niche is the heart, is the qalb of al-insan al-kamil. And the tree is the form. And it's the same analogy, it can be the same analogy in both verses, in the verse of light and in the verse of the kalima. Because the kalima that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala utters is the ruh. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Sayyidina Isa, وَكَلِمَتُهُ أَلْقَاهَا إِلَى مَرْيَمَ وَنَفَخْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ رُوحِنَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Sayyidina Isa is a word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down to Mary. And in other verses He says, we blew in her from our spirit. And so the kalima is the spirit, and the tree is the form, is the outer form. So what this means is now if we take the word of shajara, in Malakut, it's the ma'na that exists in the Qur'an. The khayal of the shajara is our recitation of it. The nasut of the shajara is the existence of actual material trees in the world, like the ones you see in a forest. But then in Insan al-Kamil, it's actually his outer form. That is his the tree of an Insan al-Kamil. And what this means is that all the forms that exist beautifully outside in nature exist perfectly and completely in al-Insan al-Kamil. They are perfected, they are completed. And as I have mentioned before in the reflection videos that I do on experience meaning, that this entire vision goes back to, for the people of Tahqiq, it's summarized beautifully in the hadith, or the athar, shall we say. It is not really an authentic hadith, but it's an athar that's meaning is very true, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I was a hidden treasure, and I love to be known. So I created the creation so that I may be known by them. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that perfectly polished mirror where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may reflect and does reflect over His names and attributes. And all of the words in the book of the universe, from the trees to the oceans to everything, is perfectly composited and formed in the mirror of the perfect man. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reflects upon those meanings in the mirror of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam then in turn also is a perfect reflection of the Qur'an. And that is what Sayyidatuna Aisha radiallahu anha was referring to. He is a perfect manifestation of the Qur'an. And you know, we can leave with a nice reflection on sort of, you know, gaining from the Qur'an some pearls and some gems that relate to this understanding that we have right now. And that is the one of the most well-known verses that people, inshallah, all of us are aware of, in Surah Al-Hashr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. That had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, had we brought down this Qur'an upon a mountain, indeed you will see the mountain split asunder and perish from the awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, had we brought down the Qur'an on a mountain? Well, it's important, first of all, Once you know tahqiq, once you know the language of the people of tahqiq, your reading of the Qur'an transforms. It's transformed. It changes. Why? Because you pay closer attention to the words that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses to refer to to His speech, for example, to the Qur'an. There is a difference when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Qur'an as opposed to Furqan. As we mentioned in a previous video, Furqan means dispersed, means separated, differentiated. Qur'an means that which is brought together. It also means the recited or the recitation. But we said that one of the meanings, especially when compared to Furqan, is that which is encompassed, brought together into one. And so what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying in this verse is, had the Qur'an been brought down as a singular whole upon a mountain, the mountain would not be able to withstand and would perish. Now we have our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, she describes the Prophet ﷺ as a Qur'an, or as a walking Qur'an, or his character trait as the Qur'an. And again, she did not say he was a walking Furqan. She did not say his character was the Furqan, even though both of them refer to the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She said he was a walking Qur'an. Because he, again, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is an encompassed mirror. He combines in his own self the traits of the Qur'an. And then we have the story of the Prophet ﷺ standing on the mountain of Uhud. And the mountain of Uhud begins to tremble. The mountain of Uhud begins to tremble, and the Prophet ﷺ places his hand over the mountain, and he says, "Uthbut ya Uhud, be firm, O Uhud, for indeed is standing upon you Prophet, wali or Sahaba, and so on, and Shaheed, and some martyrs." And so this story of the Prophet ﷺ standing on top of the mountain of Uhud is actually an example of this verse. Had we brought down the Qur'an on top of the mountain, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did bring down the Prophet ﷺ to stand on top of the mountain of Uhud. And the mountain of Uhud trembled. The mountain of Uhud split apart from the majesty, from the exalted nature of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how can the mountain of Uhud not perish without the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam calming it? When those blessed sandals that stood on top of the mountain were allowed to enter into the divine presence, and were on top of the entire universe, on top of the entire cosmos. So of course the mountain of Uhud would perish, and the mountain of Uhud was given a tremendous honor from this, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ahadun Uhudun Jabalun yuhibbuna wa nuhibbuh." The mountain of Uhud is a mountain that loves us and we love it. And this becomes the reality of Uhud. This is the reality that distinguishes that specific mountain from all other mountains in the region and all over the world, is that it's a mountain that loves the Prophet ﷺ and the Prophet ﷺ loves it. That becomes the haqiqah of the mountain of Uhud. And everything in the universe has a haqiqah. And this